The oppressive might of the Zalythian Empire was unmatched across the galaxy. Its crystalline towers loomed over subjugated worlds, a symbol of its unyielding control. Its fleets patrolled the skies, and its enforcers silenced dissent before it could even take root. But within its ranks, not all was as perfect as it seemed. Deep within the imperial palace on Draconis Prime, a prisoner languished, not in chains or a dungeon, but in a gilded cage of isolation. Vaeloria Xyn, a Zalythian born with the rare gift of luminal resonance, had spent her entire life under the Empire's watchful eye. Her ability to manipulate energy was invaluable to their war machine, but it came at a cost: her freedom. Every pulse of her luminous energy fed the Empire's weaponry, every moment of her life dictated by their demands. She had become their most precious asset, a symbol of their might, but also a victim of their greed. Vaeloria had long given up hope of escape. That is, until the rebel arrived. The mission was supposed to be impossible. Infiltrating the imperial palace? Absurd. Escaping with its most heavily guarded prisoner? Madness. But Ryn Kael had built his life on defying the odds. As a member of the Crimson Veil, a ragtag band of rebels fighting against the Empire's tyranny, Ryn was no stranger to danger. His ship, the Eclipse, was a battered but reliable craft, a constant thorn in the Empire's side. But this mission wasn't just about striking a blow to their oppressors. It was personal. Vaeloria wasn't just a prisoner. She was a symbol of everything the Empire stood for: control, exploitation, and the destruction of individuality. If Ryn could steal her from their grasp, it would send a message to the galaxy. Even the Empire's most precious asset wasn't untouchable. Ryn slipped through the palace corridors like a shadow, his movements silent and deliberate. His intel had been precise. Vaeloria's quarters were in the eastern wing, surrounded by energy shields and guarded by an elite squad. But Ryn wasn't alone. His wrist-mounted AI, Lyra, whispered instructions in his ear, guiding him past patrols and deactivating security systems. When he finally reached her chamber, he paused, his heart pounding. The energy shield shimmered before him, its hum barely audible. Lyra's voice crackled softly in his earpiece. "Give me 10 seconds to override." Ryn crouched, his hand resting on the hilt of his plasma blade. "Make it 5. The shield flickered, then vanished. Ryn darted inside, his weapon drawn. Vaeloria stood at the center of the room, her back to him. She wore a flowing gown of iridescent fabric that seemed to shimmer with her every breath. Her hair, a cascade of silver and gold, framed her delicate, almost ethereal features. "You're not one of them," she said without turning around, her voice calm but laced with curiosity. Ryn froze. "No, I'm not." "Then why are you here?" "To take you away from this place," he said, stepping closer. She turned, her luminous eyes locking onto his. "And why would you do that?" "Because you don't belong here," he said, his voice firm. "Because you're not their weapon. You're more than that." Vaeloria studied him for a long moment, her expression unreadable. Then, to his surprise, she smiled, a small, bittersweet smile. "Do you have any idea what you've done?" "Not yet," Ryn admitted. "But I'm hoping you'll show me." Their escape was anything but smooth. As soon as the Empire realized their prize was missing, alarms blared throughout the palace. Guards flooded the corridors, their weapons primed. Ryn and Vaeloria fought side by side, her luminal energy slicing through barriers and his plasma blade fending off attackers. "You're surprisingly good at this," Ryn said as Vaeloria sent a burst of energy careening into a squad of enforcers. "I've had a lot of practice," she replied, a hint of sarcasm in her voice. They reached the Eclipse with seconds to spare, the ship's engines roaring to life as they blasted out of the atmosphere. Imperial cruisers gave chase, but Lyra's evasive maneuvers and Vaeloria's energy blasts ensured their escape. Once they were safely in hyperspace, Ryn turned to Vaeloria, who sat silently in the cockpit, her gaze fixed on the stars. "You okay?" he asked. She nodded, though her expression was distant. "I've dreamed of leaving that place for as long as I can remember. But now that I'm free," she trailed off, her luminous eyes meeting his. "I don't know who I am without them." Ryn sat beside her, his tone gentle. "You're whoever you want to be. The Empire didn't define you. They just try to control you." Vaeloria's lips curved into another faint smile. "You say that so easily. But what if I can't let go of what they made me?" "Then we'll figure it out together," Ryn said. One step at a time. Over the weeks that followed, Vaeloria began to discover herself. No longer bound by the Empire's chains, she explored her abilities on her own terms, using her luminal resonance not to destroy, but to heal, to create. She and Ryn became an inseparable team, striking at the Empire's supply lines, freeing prisoners, and inspiring hope across the galaxy. But for Ryn, it wasn't just about rebellion anymore. Vaeloria had become more than a symbol, more than a mission. She was his partner, his equal, and his guiding light in the darkness of war. And for Vaeloria, Ryn wasn't just the man who had stolen her from the Empire. He was the one who had given her the chance to truly live, to be free, and to find her own place in the stars. Together, they became legends, not as conquerors or warriors, but as a beacon of hope in a galaxy desperate for change.